starts with Israel attacking Iran. The plan is for either Iran or for China to retaliate after Iran is struck with a nuclear weapon. At that point, there will be a limited nuclear exchange in the Middle East, followed by a ceasefire. He heard this being planned in this meeting. This is being choreographed. The idea is that as the world looks upon this with horror, then they will demand from their governments that there are heavy controls over travel, over communication, over people who meet, over people who protest in the streets. And because people will be driven into fear by this, they'll request and demand and insist on heavy controls from their governments, which will be justified. And this is where you're going to kind of get the martial law situation in all the Western countries.
Think quite carefully about the description. Think quite carefully about the description. Think quite carefully about the description.
Say no.
Think quite carefully about the description.
They simply say no. And that's what we all should do. Because this will end if we simply say no. here to do today. They say no. And that's what we should do. Because this will end if we simply say no. No.
White male goes to war, white male goes to war, women will be left, women will be left, women will be left.
And this is where you're going to kind of get the martial law situation in all the Western countries. And then, he said, then the real war starts.
Again! It just had to go wrong, didn't it? Flaming Nora, I've done it again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wise Asylum. I am sorry about that. What a lunatic. Okay, lots going on this week. What a mess. Right, somebody's telling me off, I know, and I'm very obviously know what it is. I've been very naughty. Yep. Thank you very much, you chaps. It's a good job I've got mods in it to keep me in check, because I am pretty shit. Right, so lots going on this week. Oil's down, because there's a chance that there might be a deal between the US and Iran. Of course, Iran is stating they must get rid of sanctions. Now, if they got rid of sanctions, well, the SWIFT would be back, everything would be cushy. So, if America really wanted to do battle against China, it would drop the sanctions. There would be no need for Iran to jump on board with China, which is what we're going to get into in a little bit later. Let's just look at the real picture of what's going on in Iran and why you are really brain dead if you're picking a side. You know, you are literally demented if you're picking a side at all. The one thing that people are not focused to at the moment, because of all the hoo-ha, is the fact that Israel is just ripping the shit out of Lebanon. It's amassing more and more troops and hardware in Lebanon, and that seems to have got sidelined while everybody's focused to the nonsense. Japan has accused China of carrying out a massive military uplift so that it's getting ready for something. Oh, I say. So China's up to no good. North Korea doesn't want any talks with anybody, doesn't care. It's happy being the pariah. And a UK minister is going over to China and India to have a chinwag. And the Ukraine seems to be getting even more excited with its drones attacking Russia, which is not a good idea, let's be honest. And I mean, they're going to lose the laundering gig, aren't they, if Russia decides to just nuke it. So that's going on this week. Hopefully the oil prices will come down a touch. But again, we're going to look at that because that's a load of nonsense as well. There is no blockade. There never has been. Lloyd's of London are the ones that have hiked everything up, and the insurance for the ships. The only people making a profit on this hiked fuel is the oil companies. So you're paying through the nose, oil companies are getting it. And of course, the government gets a kickback in the fuel duty on said raised prices. It's a fucking blag beyond belief, all of it. It's wind and piss. And of course, this is the first, well, it's not the first war being played out, scripted, images, videos set everywhere by AI. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. All this shit show that you keep watching on your screens, all over the YouTube, it's all AI created. Because it's just a blag. While they shift and change things around in readiness for whatever it is they're going to do with the finance. And of course, I've watched millions and millions of ideas of how it's going to be. It's going to go down this way. This is how it's going to be. I've warned you, don't blah, blah, blah. I mean, in truth, there's that many variations of what's going to happen. It's pretty clear they don't have a clue what's going on, or they're shilling and just trying to scare you the living daylights out of everybody, which makes sense. But ultimately, if we're truthful about it, we don't really know how it's going to pan out, do we? And especially if there's a deal with Iran. Because if America really wanted to oppose China, all it would need to do is stop the sanctions on Iran. Everything would be good. Iran wouldn't need bricks. And the rest of them wouldn't need bricks either. But they're not going to do that, are they? Because that's not the real game. Trump is the emancipator of this Exo-like system. You know, we've talked about Noahide now for quite a number of years, but the Noahide is only the control mechanism, the legal system, for this Exo-like system that these small acts have set up in the East. Israel's just the kicker to excite the West because it's all fixed into these Abrahamic slave matrices, you know, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. It's just there to excite it, get it going, and get this third world war going, which is Zionism and political Islamists to do battle all over my backyard. It's basically the game that's going on. Trump is the emancipator of that, so whatever wind and piss he's coming out with, he's no intention of making America great. He's fleecing the living daylights out of it. They're sucking it dry, as Abe Finkelstein explained back in about 2008. So, now, just before we crack on with what I've just come across something that maybe people have missed. I'd certainly missed it, but this is a fucking diatribe. This is not, it's beyond outrageous, let's be truthful. And this, of course, is the Rothschilds UN. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to just pay attention to this. It says, scientists have scrapped the worst case climate scenario because action is making a difference. Oh, by golly. Well, let's remember, what have they done on the back of this? They've programmed your offspring, since 1997, that the world is going to end. They're the greatest things that's ever been, the greatest expression of the human, and mum and dad have wrecked the planet. They have programmed your offspring with that since 1997. More to the point, they've stopped us drilling in the North Sea for our own oil. They've built millions of useless wind turbines across nature. They've scrapped the coal. And they've put a block on building new nuclear power stations. All because of the worst case climate scenario that's been peddled for the last 20 years. And they just expect it to, oh well, no, never mind, we made a mistake, it's a cock-up, but never mind, it's all good. What they're not telling you, of course, is because President Trump said we're not paying you any more money. So it's going to collapse, isn't it? If America's not putting in, there's no money in the kitty. But it's by design, so what's going on here? And it just goes on, and obviously this is a piece and garbage, but the 7 new scenarios announced last week is the United States President Donald Trump took an interest. Why? Because a high emissions scenario known as RCP-85 and its successor SSP-585 have been removed. Under the worst case scenarios, nations would make no effort to cut emissions and expand fossil fuel by 2100. Carbon dioxide levels would almost triple. Blah, 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 blah. Everybody shit themselves, and they're blocking the sun. But basically, I'm so annoyed in the sense that look at what they've done on the back of this worst case scenario gig that they've never decided isn't real. Should we be getting cross? Well, yeah, would be my opinion. And I'm listening to Tommy the Tit going on and on and on about, look at what they're doing, they're working against the natives and the immigrants are getting everything, blah, 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 fucking blah. Oh, yeah, Tommy. But if you had a brain cell, and you weren't retarded and a shill for the money, you'd realise that that's by design, Tommy. In order, little tits like you get an audience of dumbasses. It's being protracted, made so that your handlers can get their gig on, which is political Zionism. Well, not political Zionism. Zionism is the politics of the Third Temple. Zionism versus political Islam. And you're a major player in that gig. Of course the system, the crown, the corporate crown, is pushing it on you because that's what they want. What are you saying, son? You're talking out your ass. What is required is that Muslims born here, natives that are not pissing about with the bollocks and the scrotums and having the cocks chopped off because they're confused, obsessed with the nails and the faces and the lips and all that. The people outside of that we call native need to start to work it out. We're all being shafted. You know, the imams have been being taught by Palavicini since 1924 how to interpret the Quran. Palavicini, that same family that's been running the British Isles since they got the Tudors on the throne. All they see, Venetian bankers. You know, Yahya Palavicini is teaching the imams how to interpret the Quran. And they're ensuring that you're all kafir. It's all by design. Everybody's being shafted. It's all about getting the three religions to knock each other off. So that China can come in with its 200 million man army, with India and the BRICS nations, and mop up. I mean, it's pretty clear what they're doing in Africa. They're throwing out the Africans across Europe, so that's the new playground. The mineral wealth in there is huge. And China is the game. It's not the enemy, it is the game. It is the protector of the exolarch system. In the same way as the United States and the British Empire, before it, which is still the British Empire, has protected Israel. It's the same gig. It's a fantasy. It's theatre. And as long as you pick a side, you are showing yourself you are well bedded into the slave matrix. You know, the Luciferians, what is Lucifer? It's intelligence without source. It's the disconnect. It's the power that comes through to you on intelligence alone when you've completely removed yourself from the source or the Heavenly Father. Whichever way you want to gig it. The kingdom that the man told you as an image, because they made man in his image, is already embedded inside you. It's not out there in La La Land. It's just... Anyway, we're going to go through. It's not a massive gig, so I'm not going to bore you stupid. But if you want to see what's really going on in the Middle East today, well, it all began a long, long time ago, back in the Mr. Time, 1 year before the Balfour Declaration. And we'll get into that. But first, we'll have a look at who's joined us on this not so sunny day, but still nice and warm. I believe it's going to rain on us next week, but we can cope with a little bit of rain, I'm sure. Mew says hi. Evening, Mew. Anthony Damore says evening, inmates. Evening, Anthony. PY Music says good evening. Evening to you, Paul. Kerry says, good evening, love from Ireland. Love back to Ireland. How are you doing, Sam? MFA IFGTT trustee, whatever that means, says, spirited away, the surname. Legend, Sean. Thanks for that, Emma. It's good that you're getting it, which is what we like about this wise asylum. The inmates in here are very, very bedded in wisdom, and they get it. And that's got to be good. That's got to be good. Evening to you, sir. Anthony says, good evening, Sean, mods, friends, and wider chat participants for this Sunday's sermon of wise data. Evening to you, Anthony. Lex says, evening, Sean, and all the wise asylum. Evening, Lex. Good to see you back. Upward says, oh, yeah. Evening, Sean, and fellow inmates. I missed last week. I'm outraged. As I was at the stand in the Light Festival. We had a great time, but great to be back in the Wise Asylum. Well, good stuff for you, Mucker. I hope we had a good time, as long as it was the right kind of light. And not that light that we've just been talking of, which is classed as the Luciferian light. Evening to you, Upward. Beanbuster says, hey, Sean and fellow mates, hope you're all well and happy. Evening to you, Ian. How are you doing, old China? And welcome. Oh, Ulick says that you're muted. Sorry, mate. Anthony says, no sound, bro. Oh, dear. No sound, said Upward. No sound, Lex. Muted, says me under V. Yes, has to be a cock up somewhere, you know the crack. Right, so that's me getting shared to that. Ulick says, hey, Sean and chat. So we're back on. Evening, Ulick. Jim Drinsky says, hello, Sean and everyone. Loving the Sunday's sermon of wise data. Well, thank you very much, Jim, and welcome. Anthony's laughing his tits off, and we've got the speakers going. Rocking. Paul says, evening, Sean, mods, chat and viewers. Evening to you, Paul. Mew says, Derva's dropped 10p per litre near me. Well, that's good, isn't it? But like I said, if they're really opposing China, which they're not, it just drop the sanctions. What need has Iran of China? And BRICS, if it's back on SWIFT, it can sell its oil. That's not the intention, is it? It's forcing Iran into the economic system. Iran's the new Israel, by the way. There's two, it's in stereo now, Israel, Iran. Stereo. Abrahamic, economic, Noah. Oh, two gigs up Bible. Abraham's lot, west. Noah's lot, east. Noahide, legal jurisdiction. Sure, you guys are digging the scene now, aren't you? Really, you're really digging this gig. Right, so that's good news. Dimeboy says, holla back, Dimeboy. And Tranquil316 says, evening, everyone. Evening, Tranquil. Sound is good. Turn your volume up. Well, I have this problem all the time, but I can't really turn this volume up anymore. It's actually the problem I have. I'm going to have to get a new mic stand because it's not doing its job. And whereas I usually have it in front of my gob, because this is a sensitive mic and it needs to be direct, unless I'm going to go like that, it's just... I mean, when I listen back to it, guys, come on, it's loud and clear. Can you not turn your send up? Anyway. Right, before we do that, I have a bit of a... I've had a brainwave, which is dangerous, I know. However, I am now noticing, and so are you out there, that they are starting to play clever with your own accounts that you've got, whether that's Facebook, YouTube, or whatever. And they're now moving for digital ID. It's PIN numbers, I've heard, in some cases. And directly for one colleague, they demanded facial ID for him to access his Facebook Messenger. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Right? So, it's going to get to a point, ladies and gentlemen, when everybody's going to get blocked out of their accounts. Because, of course, they have not put the record straight with the system on a statutory declaration. Which would mean, then, it's not on the record that digital ID or nay, you are not the legal title. Yeah, we've discussed statutory declarations in the past. I have done as much as I can to show how important they are and why you should really give it some serious study and apply yourself to forming your own. We've talked about person, we've talked about all this stuff, but it's no good just talking about it. It has to be implemented as an action. So we're going to see that this is what they're doing. They're going to shut you out of everything. That's the plan. Now, some years ago, I did upload onto my server a forum. And that forum is still there. It's all set up, ready to go. However, when I'd done that, the old Swiss there wanted another annual fee, which was fine. I understand and accept it. It's going to be a big data bank. So I am now thinking to myself to scupper that nonsense and keep the opportunity open to those of the Wise Asylum who wish to chit-chat amongst themselves, keep the data flowing, pull into the forum what data we need to keep so it's available. It might be an idea if we move to set that forum up. Now, of course, it's going to need cash. So, a bit like we did for the microphone, if you think that's a good idea, so we are ready for when that people are getting blocked out, then you have somewhere to go. So the donations are open for that. We will probably need around 600 quid for me to crack that on. And at the beginning, I think we'll keep it a freebie, but I think what we'll do when we're all settled is I think if we set a fee of, say, 100 quid a year per inmate, I can then give it the time it's going to be required to administer it and make sure that we keep within Swiss law. Now, forums can be quite dangerous in the sense that it can be open up to fruit bats, which means intelligence, Luciferian intelligence, that super intelligence without source, which creates the world, not the earth. It has to jump off the earth. It can be an open game for them to get in and cause trouble, okay, and put nonsense in that shouldn't be there. So they do take some administrating to these forums. I've had a lot of experience with them in the past. But, and this is before everybody were all over Facebook, this is how we of the Truther movement used to keep our data secure, how we swap data between ourselves, and also stored data that, the internet is trying to get rid of. We would store it on the server for the forum. So they are an excellent piece of kit. And of course, you soon get very used to it. In the same manner that you use Facebook or whatever other platform you use, it doesn't take long for you to settle and be as comfortable in the forum situation as it does with everything ever present. So it would be a very, very good shift. And believe me, once you get into them, you use it as you'd use Facebook and anything else, and you're very comfortable with it. And of course, my job would be to keep the fruit bats out. So that would be my proposal. It's there already, but of course they want another fee, an annual fee for that. It's already set up. The name for it and everything is already set up on a URL, etc. It's there, ready to go, and it's been there for quite a long time, about 5 or 6 years, I think. But when I knew they wanted another fee, I just thought, I'm not doing that. I'm not spending any more money on my own bat. So, if that's what people want, then we will do that. And I think that's a jolly good idea. We'll set it up first. If we can get enough donations, we'll set that up. We'll crack it on. We'll see who wants to join. We'll see who wants to play. And we'll have different sections for different subject matters. So we'll have a section for law, so everybody can put their law up there. And if we keep it concise and we keep it real, then it's a great data source for everybody to come back to. We'll have an open chat forum where everybody can just chit-chat any old garbage They want to chit chat like you do on Facebook. And we'll have different categories for different subject matter. So if you have found some data, you've got some data that's relevant to a certain subject, then we will open a forum specifically for that subject matter, and that's where we'll put that subject matter. And it's good because if we keep it nice and cool and private, so there's not any fruit bats on it, we'll keep it Wise Asylum focused, because we all know each other. Then it's not going to run subject to fruitcakes and nutties in it, you know what I'm saying? And of course, there'll be room for people who wish to give it time and effort to operate in an administrative role as well. So instead of it just being me having to do it all, we can spread that around if people wish to operate in that way. And it can really give somebody who's bored something to do. Because there's quite a lot of work going on when there's a lot of data going up. And now, of course, I've got absolutely shed loads of data that can be put up there, especially when it comes to law. So it's an opportunity. It's a good opportunity if that's the way you wish to move. Because if they're going to go silly with this digital ID, I know most of you out there are not going to want to do it. I don't particularly give a shite because I've already got on the record a list of what I am not and the charges if anybody assumes that garbage. And then we're talking about the courts, of course. We're talking about the police. So it doesn't really affect me one way or the other, this digital ID shit, plus the fact I am on live every Sunday. Every cockend and his dipstick dog has got my face all over internet. So it's not a major issue for me in the way it would be for most. So there's no panic this end. So let me know what you think. If you want me to do that, then let's get the donations coming in. And the sooner we have the figure, the sooner I will open it up. And I will present the URL to you via email, because we still have the list of all the conference attendees. So from this point on, Wise Asylum inmates, if you didn't attend the conference and you weren't a part of that grouping, send me your email and I'll include you. And I've already opened a new Gmail account, Wise Asylum. And I'll put you in that, and I will keep you all updated on where we're at with it, and we'll do it that method. Now, of course, if we set that up, then what we started at the conference last year, we can continue, but we'll do it and base it out of the forum instead of it being via YouTube. So that we're basically closing everything away from what everybody's on, and we'll focus it onto what we control. So if that sounds good, then let's crack on. And the sooner we get the figure, the sooner I can crack on with that. And Bob's your auntie. And my next move, of course, is to utilize the website for video, because I don't know how long the YouTube's going to carry on letting me gob off on it. They obviously get excited about containing it. So again, I'm starting to move and look to shifting out of it all. I won't stop doing it, but I just don't want it to be the main focus and the main point by which I'm operating. Just in readiness is basically what I'm saying. So that's where I'm working at the moment on that. So if you want a forum, ladies and gentlemen, that will be yours, then let's get some donations going and let's get a figure of 600 quid, and I can move forward with that very quickly. And of course, videos will be able to be put on the forum. So if you have videos that you want to keep, that you've kept, that you've downloaded, obviously I'd want them MP4s, low grade stuff, nothing 4K or anything like that, just to save bandwidth and also for data storage. But anything that you wanted to put up, that would be your own private personal databank if you so wish. And of course, it would have a URL, so you could share that on whatever else you're still on. Okay, so send me your emails if you've not been part of the conference group, and I'll start putting it all together in the Gmail account, a Wisest Island Gmail account, and keep you all informed via that method, as opposed to presenting it on the live streams for the whole world to know. And we'll keep it. It's private, but it's not private. It's still going to be open to folk that are reasonable if they wish to join in. But like I said, we'll not do anything annual fees or firewall it from the beginning. Let's get it going. Let's get everybody comfortable. Let's give everybody a position if they wish to be involved that way. And then we'll look to having it fund itself and something like that. So, right, that's that out of the way. So next, we just need to crack on with tonight's gig. Anybody else got anything to say in there? Let's just check. Ulrich says, please comment again. I didn't mean to block your last one, says Mew. He's Mew being bad. He's naughty, you know. He's a very naughty boy. Thumbs up for me on the forum, says Anthony. Good stuff, Anthony. Solvermist says, hi. Evening to you, Solvermist. What time are you over there in Oz? Welcome. I don't know whether you got the gig on the old forum, but it might just be... It'd be good for Australians as well. I mean, if you know guys like yourself who are in the game and they know that they're going to come a cropper with a digital ID. Upward says, I'd be able to contribute to the costs of the forum. Excellent, Upward. That sounds good to me. I think this is something that might just come about, and I think we'll benefit from it. PY Music says, oops, Moo. So Moo's getting told off for being naughty. Ulrich says, can you see me now, Mew? Is he? He's a bad one. You know he's half Scouser, don't you? Dan Boy says, put up buy me a coffee link. Well, I have a donation thing straight to my account, so that's the best way to do it. PayPal, forget it. They just take the piss and try and fuck everything up that they can. So let's just go direct. Let's not piss about with all these intermediaries, because we don't fucking need them, and they do cause me problems, you know? They cause problems. They've caused me a lot of problems in the past. So we just go direct to the account. Just bang it on there. Is no fuss. I mean, there is a PayPal link there, but honestly, don't use it. Don't use it. They're a waste of fucking space. I don't like them. I don't use it myself anymore. So just go direct to that. You know me, it's Sean Young. That's me. There's no fannying around. Well, that's the house. It's my name's, you know what I mean. It's my house, but it's on the card. It's Sean Young. SEAN, of course. So there's no excuse there. I've blah blah blah. So we won't be doing a buy me a coffee gig, whatever that is. Mew says, having a nightmare with laptop, Paul. Sorry, mate. Is he fibbing again? Is he fibbing? He's getting excited with that knockoff button, I think. Ulrich gives it thumbs up and he's laughing. Anthony Damore says, what's the email? Add it to send my mail to. So send the email to lifeinthemix22, which is number 22, at yahoo.com. And I will pick up your emails from there and apply them to this new Gmail that I've set up. And then we'll take it from there. Mew Pit turned into a fruit bat, says Moo. Oh dear, Mew, what are you playing at, eh? I don't know. What's going on? Have you been beaten up? Has she beat you up today? Have you been a naughty boy? Anthony says, we need a backup. Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. We need a go-to place where we can all keep in the mix. It's that simple. Yeah, and I think that's perfect. I mean, I'm even looking in the future, maybe setting up my own streaming gig so I can stream myself on a server in... and of course, I'll bear the cost of that. That's not something that I'll ask anybody else to jump on board with. But I think the forum's a great idea because they definitely... I mean, if they're asking for facial recognition off a guy just to access his messages on Facebook, I mean, come on. The guy's not going to do it, so can no longer access it. So he's off. He's done on that. And that's... You can see that that's where it's going now. You know, Fat Fingers announcing his government is going to implement the digital ID. Oh dear. So yes, 22, the number of mastery. And this, of course, is week 22, ladies and gentlemen. And I have been a very, very busy boy in week 22, which is always the case, and it is, of course, my favourite number. Always has been. But I like 33, I like 44, 55, 66, 77, 88, 99. And 11. Master numbers are my gig. I like to play with them. It's a powerful energy. So, yes, we are at the end of week 22 today. And I have been busy. It's been unreal. So, right, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, to business. It's not a long gig, so I'm not going to bore you stupid. But it's important stuff. Now then, just before we crack on, the Sykes-Pico agreement and how it works today in the Middle East. Okay? And my ugly mug's back. And there's the ugly blighters. Imperialists every bit of the way. Right, Britain and France concluded a secret agreement in May 1916. Oh, that's a very important year, is it not? First World War's still on. The Bolsheviks have not launched a gig. And the Balfour Declaration hasn't been made public. Known as the Sykes-Pico Agreement, after the British and French representatives who negotiated it. The agreement related to Arab territory in the Ottoman Empire, which Britain and France aimed to dismember after World War I and divide the vast territory ruled by the Turks between them. Lawrence of Arabia. That was his gig. Russia was made privy to this secret treaty. Russia, by golly. Who is about to have the Bolsheviks stuck up its arse. Funded from the inner city of London via Wall Street. Yeah. Because it was one of the Entente powers. But also because it had an interest in Jerusalem as the protector of Orthodox Christians. Well, it might have done in 1916, but that were about to change. A copy of the secret treaty was shared by France and Britain with Russia's Foreign Office. On November the 2nd, 1917, the British government, in support of the Jewish Zionist aspirations, announced a plan claimed to be a mandate to achieve, by the best endeavours, to facilitate the establishment of a national home for Jewish people, and presented the Balfour Declaration to the public. Okay? So we've got Sykes-Pico Agreement carving up Arabs, Arabia, or Middle East, because it went a bit further than that. Just before they announced the diatribe that became Israel. There's a link. A link we've already covered before on the live streams. When the Bolsheviks took power in Russia in November the 17th, Trotsky, as Commissar for Foreign Affairs, published a summary of the treaty in the government newspaper Izvestia on November the 22nd, 1917. So one of the first things he did. The disclosure created a sensation both inside and outside the corridors of power. And now we have a couple of links to the Sykes-Pico Agreement, one from the Rothschild Britannica, and then a second from Yale Books. Just gives you a bit more data to read between the lines and make your own mind up. Now, that's a gig. Gig on. Oh. Okay. Now we have Iran today. What's it all about? Well, we'll just go a little bit of history. Not much, but a little bit. 1948, Venezuela proposed a 50-50 split in oil profits with oil companies who would extract the oil. Of course, that was the United States and British. So, 50-50 split, Venezuela said. You come in and pump it. We'll take half. You take the rest, the other half. Good gig. Good deal. Everybody wins. The empire disagreed, in Iran at the same time, 1948, Mohammad Mossadegh, the then democratic elected leader from 1951 to 1953, offered the same deal, 50-50. Well, you'd think that were good, wouldn't you? The empire disagreed with his proposal. Before his removal from power, his administration introduced a range of social and political measures such as social security, land reforms and higher taxes, including the introduction of taxation on the rent of land. His time as Prime Minister was marked by the clash with the British government known as the Abadan Crisis, following the nationalisation of the Iranian oil industry. Oh dear. So he nationalised it and said, I've got to have a 50-50 gig. Well, that's not going to work because they already owned it all. That's why they said no to him, but yes to Venezuela. So there are links, by the way, in green. Following the nationalisation of the Iranian oil industry, which had been built by the British on Persian land since 1913, through the Anglo-Persian Oil Company, AIOC, later known as British Petroleum, BP. Churchill, who comes back, convinced the US that Mossadegh was in fact a communist, which launched Operation Ajax in the US and Operation Boot from MI6. From this, Mossadegh was removed and the dictator of the Pallavicini family, who was already the Shah, Mohammad Reza Pallavicini. Oh, there we go, see. Was restored to full power because he was still the Shah, but they just sidelined him a little bit and stuck on this democratic geezer. He was restored to full power and acted in the manner demanded by the US right up until 1979. It is interesting to note at this juncture that the Shah began to expose the methods and actions of the Israeli elites. So they'd raised him back to full power, and there are interviews out there on internet land in which the Shah is very clear that in this agreement that had been taken up through himself in America, it realised that who were really running the show, and it wasn't America, it was Israel. And there are quite a few interviews out there where he discusses the methods carried out by Israel. This is what he went against, not the agreements with America, the fact that he'd realised that America wasn't being run by Americans. Now, it's interesting to note that at this juncture that the Shah had begun to expose the methods and actions of the Israeli elite, specifically in how they controlled the American government, the CIA, and that everything the US carried out was under command of the same, which of course would not wash with the Shah. The Shah had to go, and perhaps one of the first colour revolutions would be activated in 1953. Now, 52 Americans would be held hostage for some 440 days. Now, if you're of an age, you'll remember all that malarkey. Yeah. Oliver North, all this malarkey going on under Reagan. Remember? Arms for hostages and all this gig. And there we have a Wikipedia gig on who Mohammad Reza Pallavicini really was. So Pallavicini running Shia as well. Ronald Reagan, the character in the hands of Chabad Lubavitch, would move to settle the matter. The Israel chiefs would install one of their own hidden players, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. The broom was installed, and the Exilite kingdom in the east was masked behind the Islamic Republic. This is why it's important that people recognise that the Shah went against the Israelis, not the Americans. But by this time, America were being run completely by the Russian Bolsheviks who run Israel, none of which Jews. Sure. Yeah. And there we have a couple of links. One is history Ayatollah Khomeini, and the second is a Iran-Iraq war, 1980-1988, that we have already discussed on a live stream. Iran now out of the hands of Western power, because this is what's happened here. The power elite from Bolshevik Russia running Israel have now positioned Iran in the public outside of Western power control. All the same, they're still running it, of course, because they've put in the broom. Now you can see how Iran has been taken out of Western power right now to be put into the hands of this new system, the Exolite system. Okay, so you can see the game if you've followed these live streams over the last couple of years. Alright? Now, Iran, now out of the hands of Western power, publicly, is ripe to be brought to its knees in order that Israel for Asia could be born, and ever looking to the east. So you've got Israel in the east controlling the Abrahamic. Now they're going to create an Israel called Iran in Asia to bolster this shift of power of this small arc system to the east under Breakspears. To further cement this fantasy, the Western powers, including Bolshevik Russia, so get this, okay. Oh, sorry, the core centre of this Jewish kingdom, new Jewish kingdom being born, which was the Exolite system, okay. And you don't forget a blast. Stalin had already set that up. So because we're into the 50s here, and now we're into the 80s. Alright? So this is the game that they've played in ostracising Iran away from so-called Western powers. But it's still in the hands of the powers that have been running the Western powers. The inner city of London and the Venetian bankers. Yeah. Right, now this gets important, okay, because now we're getting to a point where there's going to be a war between Iraq and Iran. Yeah. Now, to further cement this fantasy, the Western powers, including Bolshevik Russia, gave 40 billion to finance Saddam Hussein to intervene and attack Iran for removing itself from Western control. Russia. Still Soviet Russia. Right? So Bolshevik. 40 billion they gave to Saddam Hussein for his war. It's way more than America gave him. It's way more than Britain gave him in Europe. $40 billion to intervene and attack Iran for removing itself from Western control. But do not lose sight of the fact there are bigger players atop governments, and that would be the New World Order that was handed to the Jews in 1940. The pretend Jews. Thus, the real power play had not changed hands at all, and it had just become a plaything for the ultimate purveyors of power, the international financiers. And I have put the link up to see Rothschild Island, because of course Rothschilds are the trustees for these international bankers, or financiers, which is the head of banking, really. Banking is just a system that financiers use, isn't it? 73 years later, and Iran is doing exactly as it was formed to do. It's now the proxy for China and Russia to foment the East v West divide. Excite the Islamists that they still have a power outside the financiers' control, which they do. They believe Iran is the last bastion. A conversation I had with 3 young Muslims yesterday while out on my tricycle on the top of an hill. They must have wondered what the hell had hit them, because they had me for 10 minutes giving it large. But you know what? These were educated Muslims. I knew one of them, and they fucking listened. Not only did they listen, I know that they went away from that 10-minute conversation and looked up the subject matter that I brought before them. So Muslims, ladies and gentlemen, are not all bad. They're not all thick and stupid. And if you present the data that they need to hear in the correct manner, they do what all intelligent people do. They go and check it out. This is why Tommy Robinson, it's important that people recognise his job is to prevent exactly that. White Onke and Muslims from coming together. Coming together at a soul level and a mind level. That's what they're terrified of. And there's Tommy the Tit and his entourage. Okay? Yes, they've imported a shitload of fruit bats that are degenerate fruitcakes and will do exactly what the political Islamists wish. But, as we discussed last night, the freedoms that we all grew up in, me and these Muslims, is going to be taken away by these fucking mad mullahs and their idiot operatives pouring out of the Islamic nations as mafias, all run by Holy See families. We have gone through in the past who runs each mafia. Have we not? Maybe we will revisit that in the future. Where are we? So it's the East-West divide, and Iran is there specifically to excite the Islamists, not the smart people, that they still have a power outside the financial control in order they can get their coveted war between political Zionism and political Islam to make war against each other in the lands we call the West. So they're exciting these two fruit bat mindsets, these slave mentalities, to do war on my garden, and your garden, and Europe's garden, and America's garden. Oh dear. Not good, is it? So if you're picking sides here in this gig, you need to know you are fixed into the slave matrix. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. For anybody newbies that have no idea what I'm talking about when I'm saying the New World Order will pledge to the Jews, this is the New York Times, 1940. And this is before any thoughts and ideas of concentration camps and holocausts. New World Order pledge to Jews. Arthur Greenwood of the British War Cabinet sends a message of assurance. Here, righting of wrongs. What fucking wrongs? English rabbi delivers to Dr. SSY's new statement on question after the war. Righted the wrongs that haven't even happened then. But they knew it was going to happen because 6 million have been presented forever before. It's all a blag. And if you're not paying attention, you blagged. And that's October the 6th, 1940. About the archive. This is the digitised version of an article from the Times print archive before the start of online publication in 1996. To preserve these articles as they originally appeared, the Times does not alter, edit or update them. There's your evidence. It's the perfect storm, based entirely on the ignorance of the global populations and their political elites. This is how power will shift to the Eastern Exilite Kingdom, protected by a 200 million man army supplied by the BRICS-tied governments. Stop that, Trump! Stop the sanctions on Iran. Job done. Job done. BRICS collapses. They're not going to do that, are they? Because Trump is working for this shit show. Like every other government talking head. And there we have a few links that we've covered as documents in the past on the Exolite system. To give you a good insight into what it is. That's what's above the no-hide. The no-hide is just the legal jurisdiction. Iran today. Okay, so there's a little bit of history. A little bit of my input as to what we're actually facing. So, now, we've presented with this two-sided real war that's going on. All that. It's utter shit. It's not happening. It's not going on. There is no blockade. Ships have been going in and out there since it started. And they continue to do so. No, there's a blag on. What we're not being told via the mainstream media and therefore missed by many alternative outlets is the fact back in March 2025, Iran announced publicly that it had found 7,000 tons of high purity antimony in one of its central regions. Antimony is a critical mineral, especially in the making of bombs. It is used in military-grade alloys, semiconductors, armor-piercing rounds, and in plasma and hypersonic technologies. It is also a vital ingredient for solid-state batteries and quantum computing. Although the term quantum is nothing other than a measure, it is not a thing, which I explained many times, but they do like to use it because it does excite the minions, doesn't it? Oh, quantum! I'm now quantum spiritualized. I'm now awake quantum. Yeah, fuck off, you nutsies. You're fast to fuck asleep and a fruitcake. Global supply chains of antimony are dominated by China, and China has been making big moves to restrict exports of these key minerals. High-level trade negotiations between the US and China took place in London in June 2025. China was explicit during those talks that they refused to ease restrictions on any exports that are connected to the US defence industries, specifically defence contracting, because they do not agree with private war. Bit of a fib, really, that. They're at it all the way. Just throwing money at you. China told the US unequivocally that these mineral exports are off the table, that the US is not allowed to use China's minerals in their weapons. The US envoys left London empty-handed and Beijing, that's supposed to say, sorry, then tightened controls yet again the next day. Western media has framed the talks as progress on climate cooperation. Well, with what we've just seen, utter pish. The US is running out of mineral leverage, and if China will not sell to the West, and Iran being closely aligned with China through BRICS, then the US has very few options left. They can continue to try and dominate new sources geopolitically, or they can try to extract domestically, or they can turn the machine off. Antimony is a gatekeeper resource. It is critical for all future technology and to sustain war, and given Iran as a product the US is desperate to collect, but cannot openly negotiate for it, Iran and China hold control over antimony, and thus has formed what is best described as a mineral axis outside of Western control. So, this is how the elites at the top, the New World Order boys, are playing off East and West. Because all your idiot politicians think this is real. Because it is real, but it's not real. They can't say anything because, of course, that would expose their handlers, and they won't be handled anymore, and they have no money. Their Epstein files would be released, and we'd have a bit of a bigger mess than we have now because we'd have no political system anymore. The public reasoning for the bombing of Iran has been to stop them from going nuclear. But it would appear that the West is running out of sources due to the East-West division formed entirely by the bankers. A clear conclusion to the control of religious minds, my spelling is a bit shit on here, being fixed to the slave matrix. For the West, they control the three religions through the actions of Israel, while in the East they have built the Exolite kingdom that claims to be the real doctrines afforded to the God that formed the garden and his slave race of Adam and Eve's, presented in the prophecies afforded to the Yorkshire seer Mother Shipton. So Mother Shipton was very clear, the yellow race are trying to divide the world into two sides, and of course we all think it's China. Well, we've investigated the source of it, have we not? We're looking more at the Hun. Right. In Iran, what we have is a pivotal point of contention outside Israel. So another ball breaker, fire starter, and yet conjoined to the actions of Israel that is supported and therefore controlled by the Exolite system. So while they appear to be separate, Iran is beginning to act in the same role, but for the BRICS nations and Asia, as Israel has in controlling the fruit bats. Are obsessed with Abraham, who were going to kill his son as a murderer, and then decided to cut his winkle to pieces. And clever man, same guy. And they took over Middle Egypt, became the Hyksos Shepherd Kings, and invaded Greece and everywhere else from that base, and caused fucking chaos, and eventually destroyed Troy. By golly. So, it's a shit show. It's a shit show. Okay. Right. And to be replaced by even less biblical script aligned with the 13 lines of Cain brought through the flood by Noah. To replace the entire biblical script in the favour of the very lines brought through by Noah but seated in the east. Sumer. All that went on in Sumer. That's where your 13 lines of Cain were. That's why they've been forever going over there archaeologically, trying to uproot it to get the gig. What do we do? How do we set up Babylon as a physical system? And how do we set up Babylon as an internal prison for all their avatars? Well, there you get your religions based on doctrine, but then forces you to protect outside of yourself. It's so simple, really, when you think about it. BRICS is already discussing critical mineral cooperation, including all resources for technology swapping. This brings into the frame all the cobalt found in the Congo, which at the moment is having an Ebola crisis, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Have you seen it? While they're importing all these fucking Africans in here, you know what next is, don't you? Oh, these fucking fruit bats have brought this Ebola, we have to fucking have another bash. But can you imagine if they do release something like that? It's a pretty nasty gig, that stuff. It's just not good, is it? I mean, every day I go out, I'm just seeing more and more black faces. Not that I've got anything about black people, but when you know the agenda, and some of these guys look like there's fucking nobody home, Fruit Loop. Like I were out on my tricycle, and it doesn't take them fucking long, to start picking out where girls are walking the dogs. I've noticed, and I think to myself, if I come across any of that malarkey, not only will I batter you, I'll break your arms and I'll break your legs so you can't do it again. So be warned, any of these fruit bats that think they're hanging around these areas where girlies walk the dogs, if you look into rape. And I saw some last night. And, you can tell the sheepish are up to something, because as they see you approaching, they're they're giving you eye like that. It's there. It's gonna go. I can see it. In the Congo, and yet another reason the elites are emptying Africa and flooding the West with people it does not wish to openly genocide. So instead of they've genocided enough of them, and they've had enough, they need to kick it off quicker, so they're throwing them all over here. We're paying for it as they take over Africa. You can see the game. It's the new playground. It's like the new world. And that's why they've kept it in the state it's been for all these centuries of colonialism. They're using the same contractual obligations under which the fake two-sided world hold obligation. The Rothschild form United Nations. So it's United Nations that's running all this. It's contractual obligations to the United Nations that's forcing all these governments to comply. Now, when you begin to see this mechanic instead of picking a side, you are seeing the real game being played out by the puppet actors. Every bankrupt government power broker from all sides are acting, because it is an act, to blindside the populations and to bring them all to the Third World War. This is what it's all about. It's just a game. Now, keep in mind, when they speak of technology sharing, which is what the BRICS are doing, they're not speaking of technology to the benefit of the populations. They are speaking entirely about the technology the elites wish to utilise to suppress the global populations via the digital ID and all the ramifications that follow. Facial recognition, all these systems that they're pumping out everywhere. So, any ideas that this BRICS setup is, we're going to save the fucking world? No, it's being implemented across the BRICS nations just as it has here. They're just kicking off the war in the West, because that's where the Abrahamic control grid is. So while you're all focused on the fake and promulgated idea of sides, you are missing everything relating to the implementation of the same technological prison being set up in every nation on the globe. Save for a few in Africa, northwestern Africa, that don't seem to be tied to the UN. So when you look at the Iran situation, you would be wise to see this as a mechanism by which the West and the East are further forced into division over minerals and financially through BRICS being included in the mix. At the same division and therefore a path to open warfare over finance. So they're using every single gig they can to form this division. And as I saw yesterday, talking to these 3 Muslim guys, give it to them correctly. They listen. They're not stupid. Not stupid. From multiple Western intelligence assessments have confirmed that there is zero evidence of any attempt at developing nuclear weapons by Iran. Not unlike the weapons of mass destruction played out before the attack on Iraq. But such rhetoric works when exciting the latent fear already heightened in the hapless masses. The world's nuclear weapons and war blindside the mind and evoke fear enough for the talking heads to determine for you what is real and what is not. So they create the fear, and then the television tells you how you have to react to that fear. 9/11. That script that they kept bumping. Bin Laden this, Bin Laden that, all the while setting up the Patriot Act, setting up the Contingency Act. You weren't watching that? No, it's... Yep. For example, just remember 2020. When through a believer system, as yet confirmed, a delivery system, that should say. It's a spell check, it's changing stuff. And I didn't get a chance to check it, actually, so it's my bad. So, for example, just remember 2020 went through a delivery system, as yet unconfirmed, so we don't really know what they did it, but it's probably water and chemical, that did create a situation where people were getting ill. Yeah? They created an illness. And then the global population were told what the reasoning for said illness was via the television and the million talking heads pouring lies out of every available orifice. So they create a situation, and the television, because you're all projecting outside for your input, you're not trusting yourself, you're feeling what your gut tells you, and through those idiot talking heads, the television tells you exactly how to deal with this situation, what it is, and how you have to stop it. And look at what you did. If you did it. You get my mate? This is how they play this. So Iran's kicked off, they're telling you what's going on when it's not, it's AI projecting all these images and shit. They're just fucking fleecing you on oil, fuel, energy, closing down supply chains. Trump has stopped the fertilizer. That is going to have a massive effect next year. Because all these fucking stupid people called farmers have been using fertilizer, wrecking the soil, which will only grow crops if they put more of this shit in it. That's why they use the term farmer, which is a legal term. And it defines as fucking idiot. Lazy bastard, because they couldn't be asked to grow crops correctly. Sorry, farmers, but you know, sometimes truth has to be given straight, no fanning about. But that's basically where you're at. You've created it yourself. Now it's up to you to get out of it. For example, I've done that. So, the truth is given that Iran is in league with Russia. Yeah, Russia gave it Saddam 40 billion to kick shit out of it. Yeah, you get it. So we're told that, according to the media, that the truth is Iran is in league with Russia, China, North Korea, Pakistan and India. Each nuclear power is in their own right. So they're all nuclear powers and Iran's in league with it. What the fuck does Iran need its own nuclear power for? It doesn't. It's got all its best mates who are all nuclear up to death. It doesn't need its own nuclear weapons. So it's just wind and piss. The Iranian leadership, which is an occupying Islamic regime, can then play the victim mode to perfection, which it's doing very well. You're all picking sides. Palestine, Iran, anything but your own country. Fuck our country, we're more important because telly's showing us this and it's that. Look, we've invited all nations to come see We're not looking at them make nuclear weapons. That's what Iran says. We're not doing nuclear. Come and have a look. They're just playing the victim. But look what Trump's doing. Look at what these Europeans are doing to us. They're horrible bastards. Yeah. It's just garbage. We've invited all the nations to come and see we're not looking for make nuclear weapons. And that is because they don't have to. It's a mindfuck of the most insurmountable ability to surpass for the general public, including its politicos, because you voted them in. Yeah, dear. Who were all chosen, you politicos, based on their lack of intelligence and ability to reason, and are chosen either because they are criminally compromised or programmed to obey no matter what it is they are told to say and then do. See 2020. See one I put up on my Facebook where this so-called doctor is explaining that a real pregnancy and a potential pregnancy for transgenders is real and employers have to take note. It's ridiculous how far they've got with this nonsense. It's just, and that's in Australia, by the way. I don't know. Where are we now? Right. It's a perfect control system. It's like a feedback loop that just keeps on giving. The more the game moves on, the more ingrained the loop, which confirms their minute ability to self-reason and therefore discern what is real and what is fantasy. This is a terrible document. I've missed out loads of stuff and bad spelling mistakes. My apologies, chaps. I might have to rewrite this and re-upload it before I do it. So there is no fuel shortage. There never has been. Shipping has not been stopped by Iran. Lloyd's of London has caused the hike in fuel by extracting billions of pound notes from shipping in a hike for insurance. Fertiliser has been altered, which means the path to starvation has been opened. AI is now formulating the war script as well as all the imagery of war. It's a big theatre production for consumption by the masses. Every government involved is a group of actors on the world stage, playing the part as reactionary plebs to what the two firestarter nations, Israel and now Iran, enact. It is well-scripted play without substance, in order they can move the world into a fake idea of real enemies. Only in your mind does this play take sides from which your temper will follow with action. Oh, protest with Tommy! Palestine, free Palestine! Okay. Yeah, what you're doing is you're bringing them all over here. And Egypt won't take them in, Saudis won't take them in, Lebanon won't take them in. Why? There's a fucking reason for that. Oh, come here and rape our kids, we don't mind. On this they depend, or the game is up, as a direct consequence of failing in the teaching that the kingdom of the Father is within. You know, these Bible bashers that say, oh, well, Genesis 1, it's the image of... And they haven't got a fucking clue what they're talking about. They are dumb asses. So these are retards hiding behind an idea that they call a religion. It's just a fucking idea that forces you to project outside of yourself so you never look for that image within that the Creator gave you. When are people going to realise that is the simplicity of the trick? And all else follows from that nonsense. Where are we? Everything outside is the matrix of the world. A false paradigm born in a garden. So they birthed it in a fucking garden. A form created by the masters of slavery, because they did it exactly for that reason. They altered man to create a monkey, so that you will serve their will and be happy about it. Now they've done it again, and now you're going to own nothing and be happy about it. You're now another new human. You're a digital avatar. Oh. And when you do serve their will, they'll offer you prestige in the game of the power and wealth, but only if you serve their intent at the cost to your soul. And everybody's happy to do it. And there we have some links to documents that we've discussed in the past, very relevant to this. Now then, I've had 2 communications from Pedram, who is, for those who don't know, a man in Iran, of the original Iranian people. Okay, so he's not part of any occupation force. He is your average Joe, an Iranian man. Now, he did send me quite a lengthy couple of emails. However, he did also ask me not to publish it. And suggested a couple of ideas that we may do. Now, this, I thought, it won't mind me saying, because this just gives a little bit of an insight into what's actually going on right now in Iran. So he says, Pedram, and then he says, cheers, man. They are loosening and tightening and the suffocating grip on the internet. Hence, the delay in my reply. So they're playing with the internet. Gmail became accessible one single day on the 15th of May, then shut till today. We the people ordain and establish as well as kick out any government eventually, he says. The criminal gangs running today's governments are so afraid that they've even blocked the internet time and again. Love and regards, Ped aka Pedram Man. Now, he came back again, and he said, back online via tunneling, via some virtual private network or VPN. Today I learned the so-called tunneling that net-savvy people in Iran were utilising during the internet lockdown. So there are internet lockdowns going on in Iran. Okay. Well, and I had this conversation today with somebody who was saying, yeah, but if they shut down the internet, they won't be able to pay our bills. I said, well, no. I said, they'll shut down the internet for you, which is why they're putting up all these telegraph poles and this other internet system. But the system that your bank account's in is in their system. So they'll have full control of everything. You won't be able to access your bank. You won't be able to remove money. You won't be able to make payments out of it. But they've got full access to it. And guaranteed them direct debits will keep getting took. Fraud error recovery bill will take what the fuck it wants as well. So there we go. We do internet lockdowns. Now, this is just another thing that will put up, I think, by the anonymous crew. So there's a lot of links in that, but you can't obviously get them off this this image. But everything there is a link, by the way. Anyway, it just says, Iran is not an insolvent pariah state. Iran is the primary source of unhedged liquidity for the shadow banking system. London is the hub. Tehran is the offshore battery. IRGC energy credits are not sold. They are swapped for Vostro credits in mid-bar Omani banks. Or I'm not sure what that is. These credits get bundled into collateralized synthetic obligations. They hit the London repo desks as high-quality collateral to back short-term loans. Without this 24/7 inflow of dark energy-backed paper, the City of London's leverage ratios collapse. The 2026 Iran war is based on two factions of the global elite fighting one another, so they're pretending. The fight has gone from boardrooms to kinetic events, which can also be seen via other seemingly unconnected accidents, in the form of private transport crashes and security lapses for world leaders. Now, this is what I was saying before. This is the real idea side that the New World Order controllers at the top, and how they're playing east-west for this divide. But that system that they've just said is above. Does that make sense to you? Can you see what I'm saying here? These controllers, these financial families never lose anything. But when you're taking sides, you're not understanding stuff like this. When you start to look at it from like this, the picture's very clear. It's a fucking blank. Now, Faction A. All money central bankers. They aim to keep the Iran loop open at all costs. They know the Western debt to GDP ratio is terminal. They use the shadow trade to suppress domestic inflation and keep the repo market from seizing. To them, a nuclear deal is just a legal patch to keep the detergent flowing. So this is how they've got the elites on each side seeing the game. Yeah? Faction B. So all money bankers are the people that call themselves Jews that are not, that are running the New World Order. Bankers. Faction B. Silicon Valley neo-feudalists. They aim for kinetic escalation and regime change. They want to force a global default and great reset to move everyone to a fully CBDC-tracked ledger. They attack the Iran loot because it's untracked and gives old money a way to survive without their tech. Well, China is the system that wants that, isn't it? So they say Silicon Valley, and like they're trying to put Faction A, Faction B in the West itself. But no, running this tech gig and the CBDC is China. Its entire system is built on it. So can you see how there's always a blag play. They'll give you truth, but there's just to take you off, so you're not just fucking... Because most people don't believe that. Elon Musk and all, oh yeah, Elon Musk, he's a tosser, him. He's blocked me out of my fucking X now. There is no blockade, it is a monopoly. The sanctions are not walls, they are tolls. They create a compliance tax that ensures only the 5 biggest banks can handle the volume. Seizing the central bank of Iran is about deleting the last off-grid gold reserves. If the Iran loop breaks, London will take 30% liquidity haircut within 48 hours, which one may see via a shift in the gold to oil ratio. Escalation will probably involve cutting subsea cables, and the system is cannibalising its own infrastructure to stay alive. So I thought that were interesting. Now, any Muslims on here that are still a bit, what is he on about? Who is educating the imams with the 1924 translation of the Quran, which has been sanitised because it obviously had to be made available in the West. So they'll shift the term kill to fight. They just sanitise it to death so it doesn't excite the fruit bats. Yahya Sergio Yahya Pallavicini is president of the Italian Islamic religious community and imam of the Al-Wahid Mosque in Milan. This is the guy and all his minions who are educating the imams to make sure that Muslims are operating contrary to the Quran in submitting to the Sharia. That makes them kafir, which means that the New World Order system can then destroy them because the Quran is clear. Muslims that claim to be Muslims and they're not, or they're praying in the public, and all these things that they're doing is contrary, and it turns them kafir, and kafirs have to be killed. So when it comes to Islam's gig, they're just going to say, well, look, your book fucking says, isn't it? It's where it's going with this. People have to, you have to stop believing shit outside of yourself and start to trust your gut, because the image of what you're looking for is in there already. But at the moment, it's completely confounded with all this emotional shit that you've had shoved down your neck that you call a belief. And so even if you started to look at your inner self right now, you've still loads of shit to get rid of before you're seeing a pure form of it. So there he is. There he is with the Pope. This is your one world fucking religion. In Kazakhstan. Yeah. Lombard family, Pallavicini. Now, this is an interesting gig because actually we've got half an hour. I can have a look at this because I started to... There's one particular female that's cited as the cause of a lot of problems in Rome. And it just goes right back to this. Now, I studied Guelphs and Ghibellines many, many years ago because it was something I really needed to understand. So I'm very well aware of that, but then it just comes from... let's just open them up. Now, it started... And also there's the Samson option that people are unaware of, where Israel threatening all the West would basically say, well, we're going to nuke everybody. Anybody that doesn't play our game, we're going to nuke you. Another reason why America and everybody else has had to do what the fuck is that, because they're just pathetic. Right, it started off with Theophylakt the First, or Theophylakt, Count of Tusculum. So if we open that, why is it not opening? Oh, there we go. And it was just browsing through this because what I'm looking for is a flossie. Marozia. Marozia, born Maria, and also known as Mariasia Marozia, was a Roman noblewoman who was the alleged mistress of Pope Sergius III and was given the unprecedented title Senatrix or Senatoress and Patricia of Rome by Pope John Paul X. The influence of two sister prostitutes. So when you get into what went on in Rome, this is what they're talking about. This Marozia, she was a flossie, a very naughty flossie, and caused havoc. And basically, from this bloodline, we get a lot of this shit show. So that's. I'll put these links up, obviously. Well, they're actually on the document. Now, from there, I went... Where are we? Oh. Where's it gone? Where the hell has it gone? Oh, wait a minute. I know why. Right, because it's flipped into its... Okay, so... And then I went... Well, you can just play with this yourself to... Just... You can start to understand what all this blag I keep talking about, you know, because it's not blag, it's real shit. Colonna family. The House of Colonna, a prominent Italian family forming part of the papal nobility. It played a pivotal role in medieval and Renaissance Rome. Remember, the Renaissance was the shit show being shoved in to the West. Okay, or super intelligence broken away from the source. So you become a fruit bat, cursed, in other words. Other notable family members of Vittoria Colonna. It's playing one Pope, Martin V, and many other church and political leaders. So this was a powerful family. The family was notable for its bitter feud with the Orsini family over their influence in Rome, which was eventually settled by the issuing of a papal bull, Pax Romana, by Pope Julius II in 1511. And of course, all this is going on at the same time the Pallavicini are ready to put the Tudors on the throne. In fact, they already have. So all this is what's going on. So in 1571, the heads of both families married nieces of Pope Sixtus V. Thereafter, historians recorded that no peace had been concluded between the princes of Christendom, in which they had not been included by name. Today, the family is led by Don Prospero Colonna. Now, I have a tune that we've played in time where it's just presenting these Holy families, or some of them at least. Maybe I'll stick that on. According to this, the Colonna family is the branch of the Counts of Tusculum. Now, where did I go? Let's just... And the gens Julia, so the Claudian dynasty. Why did I come down here? There was something that picked me onto this. Oh, Dominican order. So Dominicans are involved there with the... They didn't take on the new system, but then they did and became the leaders of the Inquisition. Became psychopaths. At this time, a rivalry began with the pro-papal Orsini family, who were leaders of the Guelph faction. Now, the Welfs, or the black nobility. This is your Saxe-Coburg Gotha, and all your black nobility Venetians. That's the Welfs, okay? Now, this reinforced the pro-emperor or Ghibelline course that the Colonna family followed. So the Colonna family were operating with the whole of the Roman emperors, which is the Germanic tribes from Charlemagne, but they were also tied in with Byzantium, okay? So this is where you get your initial battle. Orsinis were the Welfs, the Ghibellines were Colonna, and this is why these families are quite important, yeah? Now, the Welfs beat the Ghibellines, of course, okay, or the Hohenstaffens, eventually, because they backed the Vatican. So the Vatican, in doing this, brought in the Venetian shit show into the Vatican itself. And this is why I've said the church itself originally was not this shag-ass shit. And if we get rid of the 1,000 years, which we've discussed, we're only talking about mid-1400s. Interesting, is it not? Right, what we're next? And then we get to... Have a look. Welfs and Ghibellines, which is the... Here we go. So, factions supporting the Pope were the Welfs and the Holy Roman Emperor were the Ghibellines. In the Italian city-states of central and northern Italy during the Middle Ages. So during the 12th and 13th centuries, so that's 1100s and 1200s, rivalry between these two parties dominated political life across Italy. And remember, Crusades are on as well. So you can see, as I've said before, this Solomon branch pushing itself into the Christian branch. This is another part of that gig. Yeah? The struggle for power between the Papes and the Holy Roman Emperor arose with the investiture controversy, which began in 1075 and ended with the Concordat of Worms in 1122. Origins. What we're saying. He's in the chat. Brilliant. Good stuff, Pedram. Right. So the displeased the house of Hohenstaufen, who were allied and related to the old dynasty. So this is Charlemagne's get. Out of the fear of the Hohenstaufen, Lothair III placed himself under the Pope's protection. So this is where this new Vatican system, in the destruction of the Hohenstaufens, gained power in the Vatican system itself. And so the old church changed. Which then brings you to Pallavicini, because Pallavicini family, often using the singular Pallavicino for individual members, is an ancient Italian noble family whose name dates back to the 11th century. The first known representative of this name was Alberto il Pallavicino, 1148, a descendant of the Frankish house of Obertenghi. From the early Middle Ages, the Obertenghi had been margraves of eastern Liguria since 951, and from around 1000 also margraves of Milan, Tortona and Genoa. The family split into two main branches, one based in Lombardy and the other in Genoa, both of which developed extensive sub-branches. In 1360 the family was granted the title of Margrave or Marchese. The Lombard branch expanded its ancestral holdings into the 13th century and established its own state, the Stato Pallavicino, in the Emilia region between Cremona and Parma and Piacenza. The state was annexed by the Duchy of Parma in 1587. The Genoese branch was part of the patrician class of the Republic of Genoa. Some branches from both main lines still exist today, including one from the Genoese line that settled in Austria-Hungary in the 18th century. The Pallavicini of the Latin Empire, through descendants of Guy and his brother Rubino, sons of Guglielmo, a branch of the family arose to prominence in the Latin Empire, founded after the Fourth Crusade in 1204. They governed the Margraviate of Bodonica from 1204 to 1358. They grew in riches, and after the 1244 became also the most powerful family in the former kingdom of Thessalonica, northern Greece. The first Margraves were of Guy's line until the daughter Isabella died, at which time the line of Rubino inherited the throne. The Pallavicini were related to the Della Roche family, then ruling in Athens. After the death of Albert in 1311, the Pallavicini influence slowly declined. The subsequent Zorzi Margraves were matrilineal descendants of the last Pallavicini, Marquess Guglielmo. The first recorded member of the Pallavicini family was Alberto I, who died in 1148. The first Pallavicino fief was created by Alberto II, who received it from Holy Roman Emperor Frederick Barbarossa. He's got a funny colour, isn't he? In 1162, a number of lines are descended from Guglielmo, who died in 1217, possessor of a series of feasts between Parma and Piacenza. Well, this is a fib tell, isn't it? Because they were all over fucking British Isles, for goodness sake. But there is data I've seen that suggests that the Pallavicini later were operating under the House Farnese, which wouldn't surprise me. As powerful as Pallavicini are, they're only a cadet branch, perhaps, of something else. Now, there's a list of all the Pallavicinos, but what gets interesting down here is in 1926, I think that's the first point of it. Yeah. Abd al-Wahid Pallavicini, Sufi theologian and founder of the Italian Islamic religious community, Chorus, and the Interreligious Studies Academy in Academia. So this guy converted to Islam. And it's Sufism, so it's Iranian, it's Shia. Yeah, Shia Islam. Now, when you get further on here, then you've got, where is he? Yeah, where is the little buggerlugs? He's teaching the Sunni Imams. So they've got their teeth in both sections of Islam. And from 1924, they've been teaching this half version, half reading. And now, according to Muslims, scholars, Hafs is a fruit bat. He's a complete nut job. But that is the Quran that they're all operating over, you know. So you've got all these Genovese Pallavicinis, Horatio Pallavicini, which seem to be the family line that have been more involved in the British Isles, on the British Isles. So maybe at some point in the past, you know, these guys were actually a good bunch and operating against this Solomon's bunch that took over the Vatican. So it is quite possible, but, you know, these families, they only care about wealth. They're not really interested in anything else. Where's Yahya? Why has he been taken off? Can't find him. Well, let's go there. What's that saying? Because that's oh, it's foreign. Oh, we can't read it. It's disgraceful. Right, we can't read it because it's not English. Islam in Italia, Consulta Islamica. There we have Yahya Pallavicini. So he's the geezer at the moment, which is the guy who's teaching imams how to... What are you talking about, you puffs? Right, Wikipedia can start off. They're not playing out. They're being very naughty. But there you go. Just from that old gig, it's just on and on. I mean, the history of Genoa and Venice is massive. And, I nearly said his name. Tarpley. Webster Tarpley. If you want to understand Venice, Webster Tarpley is the man. And now I haven't heard anything from him for a long time, so I don't know what he's still doing. Now, he did tie himself into the LaRouche group originally, but once he realised what it were, he left them for cold. But Webster Tarpley is the man to seek out. I mean, he did make a lot of videos. There's a lot of conference speeches that he's made, whether they're still available. Webster Tarpley. If you want to get a grip on Venice and a background to a lot of what I speak about this kind of situation, then Webster Tarpley is the man to seek. Without question, the guy is an absolute genius. He knows what he doesn't know about Venice and its incursion into the West is just not worth knowing, basically. So let's pick off where we dropped off up there. Right, Anthony says we need about... Yeah, we've done that one. 22, the number of masters is Julie. Yes. Franz Bouton. Good evening, everyone. Evening, Franz Bouton. Pedram's on. Pedram, I've just described a short version of your email because I saw you didn't want me to speak it. So, Pedram, what are you saying? Calling from Iran under occupation by Babylonian clerics of the Khazari City of London, Paris, Washington, D.C., Moscow, Freemasons, death cult. We Aryan people defy them, thus often cut off internet. You naughty boy. Mew says, hi, Pedram. All you Aryan people of England, Ireland, Wales, and true Scotland also rein in those invaders. Thanks for that support there, Pedram. Hey, Mew, Sean, and all. Evening to you, Pedram. Good to see you on. So many Sunday talks to catch up with. Wish the immense boiling pressure from us people's defiance, utterly rejecting North Korean Chinese hierarchical internet. Oh, they're trying to stick that on you, Pedram. Ah, clever. Keep www permanently accessible. Right, so they're trying to stick the BRICS gig on you. Ah, that's interesting. Very interesting. Thanks for that, Pedram. Anthony says, Pedram, very happy to see you back online. Have you been in the thoughts of us here in the wide asylum? I'm glad to know you were safe and sound. That's good. Pedram says, yes, Mew, we've been bombed. Cruise missile hit 3-4 miles north of our land on Caspian City, Qazvin and farther. Smoke column visible from here, but we kept up with daily lives. Do you know where that missile came from, bro? Pedram says, ceasefire have kept bombs away from our region, but Persian Gulf is still a war zone. Okay, thanks for that, Pedram. Mew says, Treen's friend has been keeping her updated on the situation. So we had a little information, missiles have been flying overhead. And Pedram says, during Trump Netanyahu Mongolian Khazari assault, F-35s roar and multiple sources were scratching our nerves. Okay. So there is a bit of combat going down on there then, is there? Thanks for that, matey. What are they targeting, Pedram, if you're still there? What are they actually targeting? Do you know? Is it anything in particular? And I do know on one of your emails you were suggesting that the flooding your good nation with Afghans, Talibans, ISIS and all these terrorist organisations, is that still taking place? Wonder if he's gone. 10:46. Okay, so I don't know whether you heard that, Pedram, or not, but it's good to have somebody on the inside, because all we get is the piffle from the media. Right. Has everybody gone? Right. Nobody's saying anything. Okay. I think Pedram might have disappeared. Well, chaps and chapesses, I have pretty much finished the gig. Oh, wait a minute. They targeted all heavy industries and whole plazas, really. So they are trying to destroy infrastructure, so they're really at it then, okay. Has there been a lot of casualties, Pedram? Are they actually killing civilians with these raids? And do you know specifically which air forces are actually carrying it out? Or is it, can you not really tell? Or Israel is at it as well? And what's really going on from Iran's response? What's Iran's response to this? How are they responding? It were never any face-off between Abrahamics. Nuclear bombs don't exist. It's the fear that is real. If you disagree, you're most likely fake and gay. Oh, okay then. Well, I do beg to differ, my good man. They're not perhaps the potency that we've been told they are, but there is nuclear technology. And I'm not gay. And I'm not fake. So how is Iran actually responding? Oh, it was Solomist that said that. All right. Well, you're a bloody Australian for a start. We sent you over there because you were all naughty. I'm only joking, Solomist. So Pedram says, I think mostly Israeli, some US and Arab states, and false flags by RRGC. So Israelis are doing it, you think? That's interesting. Well, they do seem to be doing a lot at the moment, and it seems to be not in the media. It's all everything else. So they played a clever trick there for covering up the game. So it's mainly Israeli, is it, that's bombing the shit out of Iran? Okay, thanks for that, Pedram. Anything else you want to get across before we wrap up? And it's very good to see you, because we have been thinking about you, my good man, because we haven't heard from you for a while. Are you going to be basically online now all the time because you've got this tunnelling system? Well done. I know about the tunnel systems. Yeah, you're alright, Solomist. There is nuclear technology, my good man. Of that, there's no doubt. In fact, they do have. They're just not what people think. They're just a much bigger explosive force when they're used. They do actually have shoulder launching nukes as well. But people wouldn't see that as nuclear. It's just the way that they play with them. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We know the plan was to fake one anyway, shut everybody down. So, is that a wrap, chaps? Solomon says not bombs. Okay. Well, we're not having a debate on that, Solomon, anyway. We'll agree to disagree. Right, chaps. Pedram, really nice to see that you're still around and you're still getting online. That's really, really good. I'll take on board what you suggested. And of course, if you can stay online, we may be able to accomplish that. Where I interview Pedram on here. So he says, people of Iran stand our ground. We consider Najaf Babylonians foreign, Abrahamic Freemason invaders, but reject US, Israeli, Arab, Paki, Turk, Russian, Chinese invasions as well. And I don't fucking blame you, in truth. So basically, you're proper being blagged at the moment, aren't you? It's it's not good. It's not good. I mean, we're being invaded as well, so we're all being invaded, and we're happy about it for now. But okay, rather internal settling of accounts than foreign invaders falsely claiming rescue missions. Rather internal settling of accounts than foreign invaders falsely claiming rescue missions. Okay. Than foreign invaders. Right, so I take it some people are saying they're rescuing folk and stuff like that. Is that what you're saying? Okay, fair enough. Anything else you want to get off your chest there, my good man? So, they're trying to shove Chinese internet on you. What about Starlink? Are they trying to stick Starlink on you? Are they trying to do that? Or is it just Chinese tech that they're trying to throw down your neck? Because that in and of itself is telling. Starlink equals death penalty. What do you mean by that? You mean if you take it on, if you use it, is that what you're saying? The regime doesn't allow it. Takes a little while as there is a 30 delay to start with. Yeah, that's true. So Starlink equals death penalty. What do you mean by that? If you catch using it, it's a death penalty. Is that what you're saying? They're still lobbing off heads. However, those who could afford paying off get the equipment. Oh, so it's that kind of a game, is it now? Okay, I got you. I mean, it's going to get like that here, you know. If you don't have the lolly, you're going to be fixed into this slave system. Interesting. So what's going on with your leadership? What's really going on? What are they saying to you guys? Yes, the clerics falsely accuse people as spies and kill them. Okay. It's not a saviour regime, is it? It never has been. No, I agree. So they're killing folk. What? So if you touch Starlink, you're saying you're classed as a spy and they kill you. Oof. Ah. Mad mullers, isn't that worse? There's nothing worse. It's peace, man, it's peace. Don't forget. Right, so what's the propaganda like that they're throwing on the Iranian people? Is it different to what you're getting, you can see from the West? Is there a specific... Right, got you. So they are killing people. Oh, my God. And that's if you take Starlink. So the only thing on offer then is buy new equipment or take on this Chinese stuff. Is that what you're saying? But what are they saying to you, the government over there? What's their propaganda line on you against you guys? Who's the big evil today? Yeah, I think I can invite him on for a chat, actually. Trump seems to like IRGC, mass murdering filthy rich oligarchs, and follow Russian oligarch system. Right. Right, so you're seeing that from there. That's interesting. Well, I know that he's a part of it. He's the emancipator of the wealth into this oligarch system. Just as King Cyrus was the emancipator for them to go back to the Levant out of Babylon. So, yeah. What's this regime says is echoing Trump's meaningless noise. Right, interesting. All right, well, thanks for that, Pedram. What I'll do is we'll talk in the week, and I will have to look into how I actually send you a link so that I can get you up on a video link, and we can maybe do a session next week, if that's all right. It's great to hear from you, Pedram. So we've got Pedram live from inside Iran. Interesting, and thanks for that, Pedram. Right, chapesses, thank you very much for joining. Mods, thanks for modding. And it's going to rain this week, so never mind. Let's hope it's sunny week after. You have a great week, and I shall say, as is always the case, where are we? Till the next time.
What do you see as the biggest challenges in conservation?
The growing human population. Because where we are, there's nothing else.
And do you have views about what should be done about that?
Can't you guess?
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
Got me running. You ready? You got me running.
I've come to this House of the People to speak to you and all Americans.
Got me running. You got me running.
Where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind: peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law.
got me running, got me running, got me running. You ready? You ready? You got me running, you got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil.
You ready? You ready? Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. You ready? You ready? You got me running, you got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running.
Every nation in every region now has a decision to make. Either you are with us